Today, I'm here to talk to you about how to embody being a millionaire before your bank account says that you actually are one. And I'm coming to you today from beautiful Bora Bora in French Polynesia. Um, it has been raining on and off for about 3 days, but it does not stop the amazingness of this place. And while when we were on our way here, I didn't feel the pull to record anything, to create anything. Now that I've been sitting here for these couple of days, I've really started channeling a lot of thoughts, receiving a lot of downloads, and not just receiving, but seeing how I can share what I see as pivotal things to put together that you, once you've watched this, may relate to and be able to start assembling in your life for yourself. So there are probably a million videos on YouTube that have a title similar to this one. And I think the type of person that's drawn to learning and understanding about the secret sauce that helps somebody become a millionaire or become wealthy is the type of person that is willing to understand that this isn't something you will be able to put in place one day and you transform into somebody embodying a millionaire the next day. It's a process, and it's almost as if you get the hang of doing something and then the next step is revealed to you. But having built a business that now produces multi-millions of dollars every year and has done so for more than 5 years now, there's something about the people that can create revenue and turn that into wealth and hold it. And they are completely different to people that can generate revenue, but they're back at the bottom of the pile again within 12 months or within 2 years or 5 years. There are definitely key markers in the process of generating wealth and retaining it. And they're what I want to share with you today. Originally, I thought there were 10 in my experience, but I actually watched a podcast yesterday that crystallized for me that there is actually an 11th. And I'm going to talk about it last, but I don't want you to think that it's 1 to 11 in order. It is the 11th one is, in my mind, the most significant, and it is actually the one that you can do first if you struggle to understand what the path looks like in putting in place any of the other 10. So, as I mentioned, I'm here in Bora Bora in French Polynesia. There's been a tropical storm here for the last 3-4 days that we've been here, and when I look on the weather map, it actually shows there's a massive tropical storm that stretches from LA in the States right across the Pacific west to Australia, and French Polynesia is right in the middle of that, and it's actually where it's most intense. And there's a lot of big feelings here, and my husband and I have certainly experienced them. We actually caught a boat over to the main island a couple of days ago to go on an ATV tour, a quad bike tour. And 20 minutes into that 3-hour tour, we actually came off our quad bike and had an accident. And we were unable to complete the tour. The two other couples that were on quad bikes who we didn't know, did not want to complete the tour either after seeing us come off backwards. And thankfully, from what I know is the grace of God, neither myself or my husband are seriously injured, but we do have bruises, we do have scratches and bumps and swelling. And it really was one of those moments where, for myself, as I said, it's a grace of God thing. It was not our time, even though it could so easily have been. And moments like that only reaffirm that gratitude must come first in all things. Gratitude that we weren't seriously hurt. Gratitude that we live another day and continue to wake up every day. It's why I can choose the sunshine, even though it's been raining for 4 days. And having that mentality of gratitude, gratefulness, thankful is what will help you embody a 7-figure, multi-7-figure, even 8-figure and beyond status before you get there. Because who wants to get there and have it all slip through your fingers in months or only a few years? You can help so many more people in the world with money than if you were poor. So the goal should be, this is a long-term game. So I guess that's where I come to number one. The number one way to call in the 7-figure life, which does not need in any way to be about experiencing 5-star resorts, driving Lamborghinis, doesn't have to be the bro version that you might see online all the time. Although I to the world on Instagram, YouTube even. So how did I get here? Well, number one is that I learnt that you embody the next version of you in order to bring her forward, call her in faster. And people much more learned in this space than myself, anyone working with, actively working with the quantum, which we all do in a way, but there are some people in my world that actively promote that they will help you take quantum leaps. And that's what you're doing when you learn about the things that help you embody something before the actual thing has arrived. So in this case, before the bank balance or your net worth on paper suggests to you that you're now a millionaire, you embody. Okay, what does that mean? It means that you have a curiosity, a sense of wonder, first of all, about, well, what is it about those people that can generate wealth and hold it that I don't know about yet? So how would you get that question answered? Learning, self-development. So if you don't know what the books or the podcasts are that you could start listening to, then you might seek out a coach. You might seek out not just a coach, but a coach who can demonstrate to you that they have walked where you are now walking, in the direction that you're walking, and they have generated the money required to grow the wealth that you can see for yourself. And they can help you navigate the path faster, with less failure than if you attempted to do it on your own. So it's a sense of curiosity and a willingness to understand that you can be a student of this and practice everything else I'm going to tell you in this video. And in order to do that and that be successful, you have to be open. So if you don't believe in coaching, if you don't believe in mentoring, if you don't believe in paying money in exchange for somebody else's experience that will help you get there faster, then please stop the video now and go and find something else to watch on YouTube, because none of the rest of what I'm going to share with you, the other 10 points, will resonate. So you can save yourself that time, and that is okay. And I send you blessings, and whatever it is that you're looking for, I trust that you will find it. But if you are open and you are curious about how or what it is that I might have done, then please stay around. So it's having a natural curiosity, a hunger to learn the little things that sit behind the scenes. And there's all kinds of weird things going on with my Zoom here on my iPad. I'm thumbing myself and little reactions are popping up, which is quite hilarious. I don't normally record these videos on my iPad, but I didn't bring my laptop with me on this holiday. The other, the thing that I learnt that stuck out early on when I was first aware that to be curious and ask questions and learn from others would be helpful was I learned about the routines that they set for themselves. The things that are maybe not pleasant to do in the beginning, but are habit forming. And those routines can be about work and about play, about health, about fitness, really importantly about sleep. But every single multimillionaire that I have spent time with or have learned about has routine set in stone in their day. That can be from the time they wake up, the time they go to bed, anything in between, when they take meetings, when they don't, the length of their staff meetings, anything that can be put into a system, they have put into a system, because it takes away decision fatigue is number one. And I learnt for myself, I'm already making thousands of decisions every single day, micro decisions, as a human in general. And as a CEO, I'm making many hundreds more. So if there are things that I can take out of the equation, like the time I wake up, I just have a recurring sleep phase set up in my phone. So I wake up at the same time every day. We leave our blind up at night, so we get woken by the sun or just the daylight. If it's a rainy day like today, we head off at the gym at the same time every day. We have a double espresso at the same cafe on the way to the gym every day. We come back, we breakfast. There's X amount of time for us to think or read or journal, have breakfast, shower before we sit down and start our workday. Now, my best work is done in the mornings. It's where I want to do my thinking time, my communicating time. I don't take meetings after 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And I like to be laptop closed and ready when our youngest gets home from school. We eat dinner at the same time. We have systems at home, which I'll also talk about a bit later in this video. But the idea is that being systemized like this, it sounds like a military regime, but really it's just organization of self. And wealthy people are organized. People that are disorganized, that have clutter, that don't have an organized workspace or office, get up at a different time every day, or those who insist that they are not morning people and promise themselves that they'll exercise or do self-care at some other part in the day and don't. They're often not the ones to generate wealth. They might be able to generate revenue, but it doesn't stay with them. So number one is embody in yourself habits and routines of highly successful people. Covey wrote a book that's been famous for decades, and there's a reason for it. You know, the 7 habits of highly effective people. You know, it's success leaves clues, and he was writing about it decades ago. So it is something you can safely jump on board with. And I know it's transformed the results that my husband and I have experienced. We got married in 2020 after each going through a divorce, a separation in 2018, and then a divorce in 2019. And what we have amassed personally since defies explanation when you think about the 20 years that we'd had before that in different marriages with different people who were resistant to routine and embodying development in self. So that's number one, embody in self. Number two, people who are successful revenue generators and wealth accumulators know how to buy time. Time is actually the biggest asset. It's not the palatial home that you might live in, or the 10 investment properties, or the McLaren that might be sitting there as your trophy vehicle. Your time is. And money allows you to choose how you spend your time if you invest it wisely. So a former mentor of ours had the idea that you actually shouldn't pull any money at all out of your business while you're growing it to experience a better quality of life or any of the nice things in life. And I could see at the time that that ethos wasn't actually providing happiness for him, and it probably wasn't going to provide happiness for us either. And I think the important thing here is, even if your business is small, you should upgrade with a healthy level of caution, your life as your business grows, but understand that the biggest investment you can make over this time is in hiring the people and setting up the systems that will allow you the choice of, am I in the business today or am I out of it? Am I going to my child's Christmas concert today, or am I required at work because there's no one else there to help? Buying back your time is a skill that is only found through the implementation of systems and people. And while some of the systems you don't require money for, you do require an investment of cash in the right people. Now, I've been in business in one way or another for 20 years, and I've made every hiring mistake in the book. I've wasted probably a 7-figure sum on paying salaries to people who were each a lesson to me in their own way, and for that I'm very grateful, but they didn't have a focus on having an impact in the world the way I do, so they weren't a match. They weren't a values match. They were the wrong person at the right time, so it was like a false start. But every wrong hire has led me to people who are more likely to be the right hire. And the more you understand how having the right team member with the right skill is worth investing in, the more likely you are to do something else that millionaires who are able to generate wealth that they hold on to do, which is release control a little bit. So if you are the type of person that wants the opportunity to spend a week in Bora Bora or a week in Bali or just a week at home because you already travel a lot, but not work, then you have to invest in great people where you allow them the space to step in and lead in their role, and then allow them to provide you with the evidence that they've got it. Because when you can see that they can do their job and the business doesn't suffer, you will have bought yourself freedom. But you need money to invest in those team members. I've made mistakes in investing in team members that I thought could do that, but my leadership hadn't yet grown enough to either have set up the adequate systems before I took time off from the business, or I did not see that there was a values misalignment in time, whatever it was. I have been shown that those people weren't the right people in time, so that it didn't have a hugely detrimental effect on the business. But there have been times where I can pinpoint where we might have lost a dozen clients in total because that person was not right for the role. And it was clearly a lesson that I had to learn for myself in business as the CEO of a company, and that the company had to learn as well. So if you've been burnt before by hiring team and you're thinking, I can do this myself, I'll just sit here at a smaller scale, I'll be happy with my $100,000 or $200,000 a year. If you feel fulfilled in that, then amazing. But if you don't, have a think about how buying back your time, but in a way that is sustainable and a step at a time. Think about how most millionaires that we're aware of, and many that we're not, the more the millionaire next door type that you don't even know about, at some point, in order to experience the growth that you can see for yourself, and certainly that I could see for myself, there was a bit of a letting go, and it's a process. You don't just go hands off the wheel overnight, but you can do it step by step. And even if you can't see it right at the start, just know, I'm sharing my knowing with you now because I've done it myself, that you only have to walk a few little steps along the way, and then the next steps are revealed to you. You can do it. So buying time also leads into my third point of how you get to experience a seven-figure life without actually seeing the validation in your bank account yet, which is investing time in seeing the future. Now, not every founder and CEO or owner of a business is a visionary, but that doesn't mean that you don't have your own way of seeing what you would like for the future. So I use seeing because I am a visionary and I'm a futurist. So I spend a lot of time in the future at the end point, the outcome. And then I use my strategic brain often to work my way back and reverse engineer the outcome. But some people think their way through it and some people feel their way through it. For me, it's seeing. And you need to invest time into allowing dream time. That's essentially what it is. And we're not just talking successful millionaires now, we're talking some of the most successful billionaires in the world. Set aside time for the exact purpose of thinking or seeing or feeling all throughout their year. And this was something that I actually learnt more than a decade ago when I first read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, was how Bill Gates, the Microsoft founder, who now spends a large majority of his time giving away his wealth, because that's what he wants his impact and his legacy to be. But he has multiple, what he calls think weeks, during every year. And for a good part of the last decade since I read that, 4 times a year think weeks are placed in my annual calendar and in my husband's annual calendar. And we don't see any team in that week, and we don't take any client calls or coaching sessions in that week either. We set off usually to a destination that we have on our hit list for travel. We set off with books that we want to read, podcast episodes that we've got lined up, audio books that we want to listen to. And it often, whenever, for myself, when I put myself in that position, the ideas from all of the thinking, reading, listening, watching that I'm doing, the ideas start to come thick and fast. And I'll just have a notepad beside me and I'll jot them down, because unless it's a really, really strong bit of intuition that I'm receiving, a really strong vision that I'm receiving, I won't take action on it yet. I'll just let them marinate on the notepad. And that's enough to tell my brain, it's okay, it's captured, we can get back to it later. And often, entire new strategy and extension of pathway of where we're going is revealed to me in those weeks. But they only happen because I've given myself the space for it to occur. If you're working 51 weeks of the year and it's all below the line, and I mean in the trenches, with your customers, with your clients, leading your team, and there's no breathing space at all for thinking to occur or visioning to occur, where you end up is luck. Luck only, and that could be good luck or bad luck. You don't really have the opportunity to determine. You will just be reacting to life rather than allowing yourself to create it, allowing yourself to chart the course. And that's what Think Weeks do. They allow you to chart the course. So 3, investing time in seeing the future. The billionaires of the world have this one in their calendar, and it is something that you can easily put in there too. And you are probably going to need to go and do some of 2, which was buying back your time, if your business isn't going to stop while you're doing your Think Week or your Visioning Week. So they all kind of feed into each other, which is why there's no particular order to what I'm talking about. 4, you need to be able to articulate your vision of where you want to go, where you want to take your business, how you see your life and your lifestyle playing out to those who are your inner circle, and definitely to your team. I found through my working career as a business coach and as a mentor that those who cannot articulate their vision to their team of what they're working towards are unable to get those team members on board successfully, and therefore are not working in the same direction as the business owner, as the founder, as the CEO. Now, it used to be much, much harder to have a process of getting the vision out of the business owner's head and down onto paper. But a couple of years ago, a successful business owner, multi-seven-figure business owner called Cameron Herold, wrote a book called Vivid Vision. Now, often, as is the case, when one of my coaches, somebody that I pay for experience and guidance to be shared with me, when they bring somebody in and a concept is delivered and it really kind of clicks in with my own strategic brain and my own visioning brain, and certainly in the last 5 years, my feminine flow, I don't just embrace it, I bring it into our business, I experiment with it, and I tinker with it, and then implement it, experience success with it, and then am able to pass it on to my clients so that they don't have to do any of the figuring out. They just get to implement and achieve the amazing result sooner. That was the case with the Vivid Vision. So my big coaching business, the Workshop Whisperer, is in its second Vivid Vision period. Each period lasts 3 years. And it is essentially the founder, if they're still in the business, the CEO's vision for where the business is going and what they can see as where they would like the business to be in 3 years' time. And working through that process for myself, because it should always be the person in charge of the business who creates the vivid vision. That process for myself was one of the most transformational things to occur for us in business in the last decade. It allowed me to share with my team down to how many people are sitting at virtual desks in our departments inside our business. It allowed me to share how I see us having an impact in the world outside of our business through the initiatives that we're able to help clients with inside the business. It was how I am able to successfully share with my team why we do what we do. So it's so much more than the mission, purpose, values that you might see from generic business coaches as, part of something they might get you to do. It is so much more than that. And all the experimenting and all the tinkering that I was able to do actually comes from my human design. So I'm a 1-3, and it's my 3 line that is receiving a strategy or an instruction, experimenting with it, tinkering with it, putting it in a way that I understand. And if you're after the same things that I'm working towards, that you will likely understand as well. And it's how I'm able to pass things on to our clients that speed up their process, that collapse time, the quantum leaping that I was talking about beforehand. So you've got to document your vision. You've got to then share your vision. And if you're not in business with your life partner, it's so important that you share this with them, because they may not completely understand why at 3:30 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon you're suddenly inspired to get down this thought or to send this thing live on social media. They might not understand why you can't just close your laptop and not think about work. It's really, really important as a communication tool to get your inner circle on board with where you're going. Number 5, so important. Something that will probably feature in your everyday, maybe in your journaling, especially if it's not something you embody right now. And that is do it scared. You don't get to a place where you're generating millions or multi-millions and even billions without taking some calculated risks and doing things even though you recognize you're scared. Half the world won't wake up to their calling, but the other half, 50% of that half, will recognize that they're afraid, and that fear will paralyze them and they'll stay in place and they won't reach what they dream of. But the other half will possibly come to understand that it's okay to feel scared. It actually tells you that courage can be used here. It's something that I recognized was in me 20 years ago. Oh, I'm afraid of this. This is in my gut. I can feel this. But it doesn't mean stop. It actually means go. Now, I have to preface that by saying that I'm not talking about life-threatening situations, okay? I'm not running into the fire. I'm not running into a violent situation. This is where we're talking about comfort level and moving out of your comfort zone, because what you want is on the other side of it. You can do it scared. I think Glennon Doyle said so well a couple of years ago in her book, We Can Do Hard Things. Scary things feel like hard things. But once you understand that it's the same chemical in your body that triggers fear as triggers excitement, and you have the free will to choose excitement, you have the free will to choose fear. For me, when I have this feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to do this, this is outside of my comfort zone, I can flip that to how exciting. This is going to feel uncomfortable and it's probably going to feel hard because I haven't done it before. I haven't been here before. But how exciting that what we're working towards is on the other side of it. So you might need to write reminders. You might need to write positive affirmations. You might need to stick things on your bathroom mirror, in your shower, that help you appreciate that fear is actually telling you the way, rather than saying stand still or go back the way you came. But when you accept that you are meant to be afraid, and that all people who have generated significant income and retained it over their lifetime have had to do things scared. It's just not possible to achieve the outcome without moving outside your comfort zone. Because if we could achieve the outcomes that we're talking about while remaining in our comfort zone, there would be no poverty in the world. There would be no middle class. Everybody would be able to generate multi-millions of dollars and be wealthy just sitting back, being in their comfort zone. So you can do it scared. I've done it scared. There is probably not a part of any day where something doesn't drop in for me where I don't go, ooh, that could be beyond my comfort zone. That could feel a little bit scary, but how exciting. I wonder where that's going to lead. Number 6 is hold boundaries. As a multi-7-figure business owner, one of the reasons you become one is because you learn to implement boundaries and you learn to hold them in place. You will be unsuccessful at it in the beginning, certainly, and maybe with certain people in certain situations, you will always be unsuccessful at it. But the main ones, the main areas where they should probably exist, if you're to have the focus to put into growing and scaling a business that produces the income that we're talking about, You certainly need to have them around your time. You certainly need to have them around your work, and you need to have them around certain people. We would all have people or persons in our life who don't want us to be more successful than them. And that is their own fear. It's actually got nothing to do with you. They just want you where they see themselves, where they can see you. And they can be well-intentioned. They can be your mother, your partner. They can be your child even. They can be a friend that you have grown up with. And it might not sound like it isn't well-intentioned, but it is likely passive-aggressive, and it is designed for them not to have to move out of their comfort zone. You need boundaries around that, around those people. You can say thank you, but you can remember that you don't have to take any of it on board. You can have boundaries set up in your calendar. So work blocks of time. For me, 50 to 90-minute blocks of time where I'm not contacting anyone else, I'm not receiving calls, I'm not receiving messages from my team. That's a boundary, because I know I can get an immense amount of work done in that period of time if the boundary's held. Somebody breaks the boundary because they feel like they have an emergency that is more important than my time block, then we'll discuss that. Most of the time, it was their emergency, not mine. And I have the evidence that I can continue with that boundary. But you only learn those things through continuing to practice holding your boundaries. And if it's a team member, re-educate your team on things you can be disturbed for when you've got yourself on Do Not Disturb, and things that have to wait until you next come back online. But if you set up systems inside your business where you let certain team members know, I'm going into focus mode right now and I'll be in here for 90 minutes, but when I come out of focus mode, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm going to make myself a coffee, have a drink of water, and then I'll come back and I'll check in with you. That person will sink in with that rhythm and know that it's safe, that you are coming back around. They can get instruction on the next part of whatever process it is that they're working on, or they can get feedback from you, or they can pass on a message from someone that you've been waiting to hear from. All of that can happen, but you've got to hold the boundary. As a CEO, your CEO time must be protected at all costs, because when it comes down to it, you only have 3 responsibilities as the CEO: as the person in charge of your business, as the steward of everything that your business creates. And those 3 things are: you are responsible for the liquidity of your business. I love how Zoom keeps zooming out so you can see more of this amazing island that I'm sitting on the edge of. So you're in charge of, ultimately in charge of the liquidity of your business. Even if you're like me and you have a CFO that you hire to look after all of the money that runs through the business, you know, to look after the bookkeeping, to run the payroll, to make sure the bills are paid, to do the projections of how much money the business actually has, and then to distribute money as per your wishes. Even if you have one of those people like I do, you're still ultimately responsible for the liquidity of the business. And the reason that you are is the opposite of that. So if you are financially irresponsible, you can't pay your team on time. You fall behind paying team entitlements. In Australia, entitlements are superannuation. In New Zealand, it's called KiwiSaver. In the United States, it's your 401k. It is what the government mandates you must pay to your team member so that they can put money away for the retirement phase of their lifetime. And if you're financially irresponsible with your money, then you'll fall behind in paying that. You'll fall behind in taxes. You'll pull more money out of your business than is sustainable for it to function and scale. So that's why the ultimate responsibility for liquidity sits with you, because you have to be the responsible adult before you can ask your chief financial officer or your bookkeeper to be the responsible adult. So that's number one. Number two, you are responsible for the vision. Nobody else should have the responsibility in your business of setting the course for where your business is going other than you. You cannot abdicate that responsibility. I said at the start of this video that sometimes the business owner or the CEO does not have vision as a strong suit. In that case, you may hire someone who is visionary. You may have a partner in the business that is visionary and you're not, you're more team focused. That is okay, but there has to be a responsible visionary in charge of charting the course and then putting the structure in place to help the team help you get there. So that's overall liquidity, overall vision, and then your third responsibility as CEO is the team. You have overall responsibility for the team, even if you have an operations manager or a general manager, or as we title it in our business, a people and projects manager. Because if you remove that person and there's no one there to run your team day to day, you are stepping back in to do that. So you always have to be prepared at the small business, small to medium enterprise level to be the one who steps back in. And because you're responsible for liquidity as well, you also are ensuring that there is always the money to remunerate the team for the job they are doing for you and with you. So if you can't hold boundaries so that you're checking in with each of those three things every single day, then your business won't grow. It won't be successful, and you won't achieve your potential or the business's potential, even though you may be able to see it as an outcome. Things will keep popping up in your way, and you may get there over 30 years, but maybe you could have got there in 5 to 10 if you'd learned to put boundaries in place around your time, with the team, and around people in your life who don't deserve a say in what you're doing or how you get there because they don't have the result that you're after. So that's number 6, hold boundaries. So far, we've got embody it in yourself as the number one point in how you achieve a 7-figure life before the bank account says you have one. Number 2, you learn to buy back your time. You learn to make strategic investments in team and in people to help you and in systems. Number 3 is invest time in seeing the future. So creating the space in your calendar every year in advance before anything else and anyone else's demands get a moment in your calendar. You've already got your think week or your visioning week logged in. For me, it's every quarter. Number 4, you must be able to articulate your vision to get your team on board, to get your inner circle on board. Number 5, you have to be able to do it scared. Fear and excitement, they come from the same chemical. You can choose to do it scared, knowing that what you want is outside of your comfort zone. And number 6, hold boundaries. Number 7, you need to be able to give without expectation. And this is kind of connected to number 11, but slightly different at the same time. So giving without expectation is basically appreciating that you can put good out in the world, not expecting to receive it back in the same way, and not expecting the person that you gave to then give you something in return. And I see so many business owners and even just humans in general give with expectation, and because of that end up disappointed. They give with the expectation that the person then owes them something. And that is a recipe for disappointment, recipe for disaster. It took me a long, long time to learn the lesson that was around this, in that I've even had clients who have paid me to coach them. Some thought that it was mentoring that they wanted. They have paid me to coach or mentor them, giving me money with the expectation that I then owed them my exclusive focus. I owed them validation, that I could see them. And what's flawed about doing that is that no coach or mentor can ever live up to the pedestal that you've put them on when you enter their program or their coaching or mentoring agreement with that expectation that you will be validated and you will be seen. Because what that indicates you are coming in with, if you are a female especially, is that you have an unresolved mother wound, and you are setting both yourself and your coach or mentor up for failure with an unresolved mother wound that you're hoping to pay someone through business coaching or even through life coaching. Essentially, you think that they owe you pats on the head, they're theirs, and it just doesn't work out ever, ever. But if you give without expectation, then you enter somebody's coaching program or a mentoring arrangement with wonderment, with curiosity, with excitement. I can see where she is, or I can see where he is, and I want to know everything there is to know about how to get there. And I want a guide with me while I do it. That's mentoring. Or I can see that this person has a whole stack of solutions for the problem I know that I have, and I am happy to exchange, to give money for that, knowing that coaching is what I need. Coaching is problem solving. But do it for the other reason, because you want to be inside somebody's group or in somebody's one-to-one arrangement because you have an expectation that that will give you airtime to enter into something akin to the misery Olympics and just share your pain, but get pats on the back at the same time. Not going to work. It's the same as if you go out into the world to do charity, to volunteer, but you expect something back from that organization in kind. Learn to go out into the world and give wherever you see your gifts could be of benefit after you have received permission to give them. And just know that you have sprinkled some magic somewhere, and move on to do it somewhere else as next. Do it without expectation. The people who are able to truly embody this one are the ones who learn to generate income, grow it into wealth, and then can sit back later in life and go, the more I gave, the more I received, in love, in kindness, in being able to see the beauty of life. You end up bitter, but still possibly a millionaire or a billionaire, but bitter because you attached expectation to everything you gave. Oh, I did this for them. I should have been treated better than that. If you can give without the expectation that there's something immediately coming back to you in kind, you will see the world in a whole other way. It'll be tiny to start with, realizing that you have the gift, you have been given the gift of another day, realizing that you have been given the opportunity to be present with your kids. You've been given the opportunity to learn a lesson in a way that was not harmful to yourself or others. It didn't derail your business. So give without expectation. It's a super important thing to add into your repertoire of living a seven-figure life before the bank lets you know that you're a millionaire. Number 8, surround yourself with things of value to you, but that you didn't necessarily go in debt for. And some of this will happen as a result of your ability to get good at generating income and profit. And some of it you can choose to do even if there's no profit available to you at the moment. So in the world of prosperity writing, and to give you some context for that, prosperity writing is the original form of the modern self-help phenomenon. So before there was Louise Hay and before there was Wayne Dyer, there were people like Catherine Ponder, and before her, there was a lady called Frances Scovel Shinn, and they are prosperity writers. So the originals from the very late 1800s, early 1900s, right up and sort of probably until the 60s or 70s, 1960s or 70s, who were able to put a modern spin on the affirmations first described in the Bible. FYI, I am not religious, as in the institutionalized religion that you might see spread across different cultures around the world. But I am spiritual, which is why I am very taken with prosperity writing. And, of course, the most modern versions of that. In prosperity writing, there is a lot said about how women in particular should wear their wealth, because there is an embodiment alone that comes from that. So things that make you feel amazing, I guess is the way I know to describe it. Things that are meaningful to you. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be wearing Dior or Louis Vuitton or Gucci. You can look amazing and feel amazing in something of far less financial cost, but its intrinsic value to you makes you feel like $1 million. So today I have a white swimsuit on and I have a white net dress over the top, but I feel $1 million in this. I have a Louis Vuitton bracelet on, yes, that comes with a price tag, but I also have it on with a gold bracelet with cubic zirconias that was $90. I have a gold and diamond and opal ring that is an inheritance from my great aunt, who was a jeweler. So all of these things combine to create a feeling inside of me, even though they're things on the outside that are contributing to it. And they say that women are able to embody this and we are able to use it, the feeling that comes from it, to generate more wealth. Men, on the other hand, don't have a requirement for this. And the saying goes that women wear their wealth and men just need to wear their women. Take that as you will. I don't take it as any kind of statement or saying that is threaded with misogyny. I actually really like it because I know it to be true. I feel it. I'm sitting here recording this video that you will find on YouTube. I'm recording it sitting in this space. I'm wearing my wealth. And the feeling of having things on that are significant to me that I feel good in is the space that I'm sharing these 11 tips with you on how to live a multi-seven-figure life before the bank balance actually shows you that you're a millionaire. Don't underestimate the power of having nice things around you. Don't necessarily go into debt for them, though. That is probably the biggest trap that I see all around me, males and females, particularly in the coaching industry. They might have the ability to generate income and it might come in fast, but 6 months later it's gone because when the money came in, they used it to then go on to finance things that they went into debt for, or they used the cash that they had to buy things that were depreciating assets, and it wiped out the money. Simple things can generate this feeling in you. So it's a prosperity super hack to do this, which is why if you regularly go into your wardrobe and see what's in there and touch your clothes and pull them out and ask yourself, do I love this? If the answer's no, move it on to somebody who might love it. Don't use your wardrobe as a space for hoarding things you don't love. Because in order to provide more to you, the universe needs a vacuum. You need to create space. And as women, our wardrobes are one of the places where we can actually block prosperity from coming through because we have stuff, we've held on to stuff that we don't love. Make a practice out of wearing only clothes you love. Get rid of the stuff that you know is daggy. Get rid of the big baggy pants that you've had since your third pregnancy that you, for some reason, have not thrown out. What's able to be donated, give it to charity, get it out of the house as soon as you can. It creates the vacuum, the void that the universe can fill for you. If you absolutely love it, start wearing it. Sit at your desk, if you work from home, in your favorite ball gown. Think about how amazing the gown makes you feel while you're wearing it, and create things from that place. If you have a bricks and mortar business that you go to each day, maybe you don't want to wear the ball gown, but maybe there's a way you want to dress when you go to work that isn't how you're dressing at the moment, and just feeling the silk of that shirt or the cool linen fabric against your skin is enough to generate this feeling that I'm talking about. You will have a completely different day every single day because you're wearing your wealth. It doesn't have to be financial wealth. Wealth is a feeling of well-being as well. So surround yourself with things of value, but remember, you don't necessarily go into debt to have them. Good debt, just FYI, is debt that we acquire to finance something that has appreciating value. That could be your personal home. That could be investment properties. Bad debt is debt that we accumulate because we've purchased things that have a depreciating value, or we can't even display the value. Credit card debt, personal loan debt. Yes, most of us finance cars through debt, but even the wealthy do that in a way that does not harm their overall financial position. That is for a different video. So think about the things that you already have right now that you truly love, that you can have around you, that you can wear, that will help you with this prosperity super hack. Number 9, organize your home and your workspace. Now, this links with number 2, buying back your time. And I found it works most successfully for me to have my home organized through outsourcing somebody else to come in and help me do that. So when I first separated from my first husband, and even into the first 5 years of being with my now husband, I was a single mum every second week. My now husband and I, we were living across 2 separate states because we have 6 children between us, and we live, 3 kids live in one state, 3 kids in the other. So we would parent our children one week and then we'd fly to be together the next week. That meant in the week that I was parenting, I was effectively a single mum. And I worked out pretty quickly that if I was going to grow my business that provided not just the income, but eventually the time for me to be able to be present with my kids when I was with them, I needed help at home. And that's what I call it, hiring help at home. So at first I hired a cleaner, and that 2 hours a fortnight, that cost me $100 at the time, cost me about $220 now. That allowed me not to be cleaning bathrooms, not to be vacuuming and mopping floors, not to be cleaning walls. In that time, I was able to apply that time as focus time in my business and generate 50 to 100 times that income for that $100 investment. You leverage your time with the right systems and the right people to operate those systems. So if you don't yet have any form of help in the home and you feel like you need permission from your spouse, or you don't even have a spouse, but you feel like the perfect vision of motherhood is that you can hold all of these balls and do them all well, I'm here to tell you, have a conversation with your spouse if you think you need to. But if it's just you, you don't need permission. But if your brain tells you you do, I'm giving you permission. It is a smart business move to have people take care of the things that you don't want to do or you are not good at, because you will burn more energy trying to do them than you will in the creation of the revenue that buying back the time allowed you to do. So get a cleaner. Even if you think it's great fun, cleaning bathrooms and toilets and doing the laundry. If you have visions for a grand 7-figure life, or even a simple 7-figure life, you'll get there faster if you have some help at home. So my next hire was hiring a housekeeper. To start with, it was just 2 mornings a week. When my children were little, I also had an afternoon nanny, so an after-school nanny. Why? Because it was usually the time when I felt most stressed out about things I had not achieved already doing during my work day. So I was already responsible for dropping the kids at school, which meant I had at maximum about 5.5 hours to do everything that I wanted to do for my business that day. And if there were things that I didn't get done, which was often the case because I'm a driven, ambitious achiever, then I would be not present when I picked the kids up from school and then was trying to help them with their homework, or was taking them to sports practice, or trying to do laundry or get dinner ready, I was still focused on how was I going to get that thing done at work. Having an afternoon nanny that picked them up from school, organized a snack for them, did their homework with them, took them to sports practice, and put dinner on allowed me a couple of extra hours of focus time in the afternoon so that I could come home with a big tick and love how present I was to be with the kids. So if your kids are young and at school, if it's not a nanny, think about what after school care looks like. It might cost $60, $100, $200 a week, but think about the hours that you get back, what that allows you to achieve, and how it can buy you back presence, which is really what our kids want, more than they want a nice house or a fancy car or fancy holidays. They want your presence. And this is how you can put a system and a person in place for a few $100s that allows you to buy that back. A very worthwhile investment. Now, our youngest is 14, our oldest is 23. We've got 2 kids out of home. We've got one at uni, one at home and working, 2 kids at school, still across 2 states. But now we find it most useful to have a housekeeper who bulk cooks for us, who's there most mornings of the working week, who prepares our lunches, does everything top to toe except the cleaning. We have a separate cleaner for that. I found that if you have a housekeeper and cleaner all in one and your housekeeper's sick or they decide to move on, you've lost your cleaner as well. So I found it great practice to have a separate cleaner and housekeeper. But the bandwidth that having a housekeeper buys me back, I enjoy cooking, but I don't love how mundane it is to think of every meal that has to go on the table every day. I don't enjoy preparing every meal that goes on the table every day. I don't enjoy doing the laundry. I don't enjoy putting the clothes away or the ironing. And if forced to do it, it takes energy, which takes focus away from the things that I do enjoy doing, which is being present with my kids and my husband, my family and my friends. And it reduces my ability to fall into flow, which is where my best creation comes from my business. I'm able to have the biggest impact in the world when I'm able to create, just like I am right now on this video with you. This is creation. This is flow for me. And I'm on a tiny little speck of land in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in the middle of a tropical storm. And I know that there's things going on thousands of kilometers away in my house, preparing it for when we return home from this vacation. And I'll be walking in to a beautifully clean, organized, structured, uncluttered home, food in the fridge, meals prepared, clothes away, bathrooms cleaned, because I invest in systems like that and great people like that. And I highly recommend that you start thinking that way too. Wealthy people have time because of the people they hire to help them. The people that are better at them than certain areas, and they don't have to spend their time or their energy there anymore. So that's number 9. Number 10, super, super important. And depending on what stage you're at with understanding how money works, it might be your number 1. But it's organize your money. I learned at a time when I was effectively poor or broke that money will come to you and stay with you when it has a purpose and it has structure. Now, you might sit there and think, my money already has purpose. It's here to provide a roof over my head and food on the table and money to pay the bills, and occasionally do something nice with the kids or my family. But that's not the kind of purpose that we're talking about. Your money must have a purpose that is all tied towards your legacy and your impact on earth while you are here. That's the simple way to put it. And that was revealed to me through a series of conversations that I was fortunate to have with a very wise man, going back almost 10 years. And he asked me a series of questions. And it started out with, what do you want to do with your money if you are given it, Rachael? And I said, well, I want to be able to have a good life. And he said, beyond that. And I said, well, I want to make sure there's always enough money for myself and my kids. And he said, no, beyond that. I said, I want to be able to make sure my parents can have a great life too. And he said, beyond that. And I'm like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought this far before. And when I thought about it, I said, well, I want to be able to have the systems in place in business that allow me to help more people in business also get their business firing so they can have a good life. And he said, further than that, I said, I want to help people anywhere in business or not. And he said, that's the kind of purpose that money needs. Money won't stay with you, even if you have the ability to generate it, if it can't see that you're going to do good in the world beyond you, beyond the fancy car, beyond the beautiful home, beyond the Instagram-worthy holidays. You will not be rewarded if you hoard money. Hoarding money is done out of fear, not love. Love has you give without expectation. This isn't about giving your money away. This is about understanding how you would like to contribute in the world, which I'll also get to in a moment in more detail. It's about understanding how you want to give, how you want to contribute, how you want to make an impact, and setting the things up that allow that to happen. And you can't do that if there's no structure for the money you are receiving now. So if you feel like right now there is only enough money for you to just get by, or maybe you're actually in hot water with your cash flow, it's because you are not systematically organizing your money. This really started to work for me and for my husband and I when we implemented cash flow management systems into our business that you can easily implement yourself without even working with me. Because a guy called Mike Michalowicz put it into a system, put it into a book, and called it Profit First. And you can go and access that right now if you go to Amazon and you read the book. My husband and I became certified Profit First professionals because, as I mentioned before, when I'm given an instruction or had a strategy shared with me that I can implement and make sense for us and for our business, and I make it work with great success, and I'm able to move it on quickly to share it with others in our world. And you watching this video means I'm sharing it with you in my world. I'm able to do that and tell you, you can just go and access it there. But for a lot of people, the book alone isn't enough, which is why we decided to immerse in it, because the more we immersed in it, the more structure we were able to put towards our money, not just in our business, but in our personal life as well. And what we have been able to do with the profit in our business and what we have been able to grow in wealth, the majority of it in the last 7 years, almost defies being able to put it into words. And it's because of the discovery of those two things that your money must understand its purpose and impact in the entire world, not just inside yours. And in order for you to achieve that, it must have structure. Money is an energy and it flows or it's blocked, just like life force energy. It's either flowing or it's blocked. And money transfers amongst people and it can flow to somebody who has no structure, but it will not stay with them because they don't have the baskets assembled to hold them. Florence Scovel Shinn, the prosperity writer that I mentioned to you a few minutes ago, she has a saying in one of her books that I love, and that is, I'm digging ditches for my riches. Profit first is digging ditches to hold your riches by putting in the 5 bank account system to start with. You get immersed in profit first for long enough and you'll realize for any worthwhile purpose, you can open a bank account. You'll end up like me. I've got like 30 bank accounts, but we need that many bank accounts because of our investments. But organizing your money, this might be number one for you. And if you're wondering how to become a bank balance millionaire and you're watching this video, it suggests to me that you're not there yet. So it's probably something you need to put in place or you need to refine because you've started to put in place. Maybe you read The Barefoot Investor, who uses a 3 bank account system. That's amazing. You might want to progress onto the 5 bank account system, which might become 30 bank accounts. And if you're wondering how you keep track of all of that, well, you just do. And eventually, if your business is big enough, you'll employ a chief financial officer and they will be the day-to-day operator of that. But as the business owner, you will never take your eyes off it if you are being financially responsible. So organizing your money, systems, purpose, and the final part of it, which is about assembling experts. You don't know what it is to manage $1 million and then multi-millions until you are there. But you can learn from others who are already there and beyond by hiring them for their expertise. Essentially, that's what a business coach or a business mentor is. But we always recommend to our clients that there's a panel of those people that are assembled around any business owner. And on the panel, your business coach and or your business mentor. So you might have multiple people in those domains assembled on your panel. Your accountant, they have to be A players. You cannot be in business anymore and have an accountant that you speak to once or twice a year and is not invested in your financial literacy and in helping you interpret what your financial reports are saying, who is unwilling to cooperate and collaborate with the other people on your expert money panel. You need a financial advisor. You need somebody whose job it is to advise on prudent investments based on your level of risk and the risk that you're willing to take. You might also have a property coach on there. I do. And maybe there are other forms of investments that fit within your risk profile, and you might seek out advice from people who are experts in those areas. That's what makes up a money panel or a success team, whatever kind of terminology you would like for it, a prosperity panel. I learned many, many years ago in business to have those people assembled because you don't know what you don't know until it is revealed to you. And if you're willing to be open, you can buy that kind of advice to come to you sooner so that you arrive at your destination sooner. So that's number 10, organize your money. And now we reach number 11, which every single one of the other 10 things that we've spoken about here in this video feed into number 11. And it might sound a lot like number 7, which was give without expectation, but I've given it the heading contribution. Contribution takes so many different forms. It might also be called legacy. And I think you could use either, depending on the view that you're seeing things or thinking about things or feeling things at the moment. But contribution is part of being in a place which many millionaires and billionaires arrive at when they realize through experience and with the benefit of hindsight that they weren't just here to work and only work. They weren't just here to make money. They were here to make humanity better. And not even just humanity, just the world a better place, maybe even for the animal kingdom as well. When you're able to generate enough revenue that you're able to fulfill your own wants and needs plus more, and you're then able to move beyond and to that place where I said money needs to be able to recognize its purpose to do good in the world. When you're able to just focus on that good and how you can come to the understanding that the more good you do in the world, the more comes back to you. That's where you realize that you're able to choose to embody any of what I've spoken about on this video today. You've got free will to choose that the sun's out today, even though it's cloudy and it's raining, and it might not be sunbaking weather on your beautiful tropical holiday, but you can still choose the sun. You can choose sunshine every day. You can choose a positive outlook. You can choose to always put kindness first, even when you recognize you're being a bit unkind to yourself. You can contribute time, knowledge, a few words, a polite comment. You can, yes, contribute money to do massive things in the world. But if contribution sits out in front, even before you've got the money to be part of some massive humanitarian project or initiative, and if you just start with your world and watch how that trickles out, you will have so much more fun and feel so much more on purpose with the other 10 things that I've spoken about in this video. You don't need money to feel like you're contributing. Sure, if your business feels like it's taking all of your time, you're going to feel like contributing in other ways to the world, other than putting food on your table, is going to be difficult. So recognize that you can be building towards actually seeing your significant contribution while investing time in seeing the future, investing in buying back your time. So hiring in the people to help you buy back your time, to help you grow the business, investing money in good salaries, understanding that even if you've been burnt in the past hiring team members, it is safe to try again if you take the lessons forward with you rather than the pain and the bad experience, because you're wiser now. You're not the same person that hired the person that resulted in the bad experience. You can embody the seven-figure life years before the money shows up and enjoy such a better quality of life because you did. If you want to put it really, really simply, you can choose love now over fear right now. It's that simple. But for many of us, it takes a lot of, number one, embodying self, being curious, wondering, that person seems to have figured it out. I wonder what they did. Exchanging your money for proximity in coaching programs or in mentoring programs to people who have walked the path before you. A lot of us will need to spend time there. And while we're there and we're learning, which I am still a student and I don't see how I will ever stop being one. But while you're there, you can be writing your vivid vision. You can be learning what that means. And you can be getting whatever team you have on board. You can be practicing holding your boundaries. You can be putting those focus blocks into your calendar. You can practice giving without expectation. So you can put good out into the world without expecting anything back. You can surround yourself with things of value to help generate that feeling of luxury and wealth inside you and create from that space, make decisions from that space. You can hire your first tiny little bit of help at home to help you leverage your time. And you can use that time to be present with your kids or to generate the income at work that will help you hire the next person to help you scale your business, which will help generate profit that you can push into wealth creation and buying back your time, which can then help you be in a place to set up initiatives that will go on to be part of your legacy. The thing that money needs to know it can trust you with to do good in the world. There's a lot in this video. And if you've made it to the end, thank you and congratulations. It is indeed an investment in your time. And I trust that it's been helpful and that you're able to take at least one of the 11 things away with you and get to work on it. It might feel like you're at the start, but you are so much further along than you realize. I'll see you again soon.